Jimmy, good to have you on, my friend. Dave Briggs and Ross Tucker. Why do you hate Red Zone?
I knew the word hate would come up, and I think the better phrasing of it is that Red Zone is just not for me. As I explained one day last week on SI.com in my column, I was a game mix watcher for 20 years. I started with DirecTV in 1999. I canceled it last year, which is a whole other story. And I watched the game mix channel, the 8 games, and then 3 or 4 years ago, they added a phenomenal second game mix channel, which is 4 games, usually the best 4 games of the week. And to go from that to Red Zone was a huge, I can't do it. I think you need like 3 different Red Zones. You need the Red Zone for whoever wants to play fantasy. You need the Red Zone for the degenerate gamblers. And then you need a Red Zone for people who just want to watch the real football teams. So, I've been going to sports bars most weeks because I don't like the Red Zone. Last week I had to stay home for some family stuff, so I did use Red Zone a little bit, and they're showing me like a million plays from the Jets Dolphins game. There's nobody on the face of the earth that needs to see that. Nobody, not one play from that game needs to be shown.
All right, so Jimmy, now I'm curious. Why did you get rid of your DirecTV rights?
Because I was having some technical issues, as they say. And a technician came to my house to fix it. He moved my satellite dish, decided not to patch up 29 holes that he put in my roof. And then there was water coming into my house 3 days later when it rained. And according to DirecTV, they have no proof that they did it. It could have been me just playing on my roof. And they wouldn't reimburse me the, $3,000, $4,000 that it cost me to fix everything. So out of principle, I had to cancel them.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy, DirecTV, you're the wrong guy to do that to. There's a lot of people that they could screw over. Can you believe, like, the SI media guy, you're the guy who they butchered the hole and then didn't replace it and then wouldn't, people should get fired over. You're literally the one guy that should not happen to.
Well, and forget the SI part of it and the fact that I write a daily column and have a podcast and I could say DirecTV sucks constantly, which I do. The issue is I've been with them for 20 years. They lost a 20-year customer and I get the Sunday ticket every single year. I've got the baseball package every year. The fact that they throw all that money away is really what I've learned from this mess, because obviously I've complained about it on Twitter because that's what everyone does, is AT&T recently took over DirecTV. I don't know about recently, but sometime in the last couple of years, AT&T took over DirecTV, and that was the downfall. Everyone says they have horrific customer service with them. I never had a problem with DirecTV, ever. 20 years, whenever there's a problem, they fixed it. They were great about everything. It was this past September that this happened, a year ago. And if you ask about DirecTV on Twitter, everyone will tell you it was the takeover of AT&T, and now the customer service is as bad as anything in this country.
Talking to Jimmy Traina, writer for SI, host of the SI Media podcast. I am technically an AT&T employee in my other job, so I'm going to stay far away from that conversation.
I have a friend. I'm good friends with. I don't know if I should say this or not, but what the hell? I'm good friends with Andrew Perloff from the Dan Patrick Show, and he always wants to have me on his podcast, but he says he doesn't think he can because I guess his show is AT&T and DirecTV owned. So, sorry about that.
I spend my mornings at CNN, but that's all right. You're free to express your opinion here on radio.com. Speaking of the Twitter reaction, though, what was the reaction to your column on Twitter? What did you hear from people?
Well, it's funny because, so this, again, like I said, this was my first year really ever using Red Zone. And I knew, obviously, I work for Sports Illustrated. I cover media. I know the popularity of Red Zone. I know everyone loves it. People swear by it. It's, if you ask people top 5 innovations in sports media over the last 20 years, that's right at the top of the list. So, I'm used to having weird offbeat opinions on things. So I wasn't surprised that I didn't like it, but I'm like, I'm not going public with this because I'm going to get shamed to no end. I'm the only person who doesn't like Red Zone. And I was shocked that I had more people on my side than I anticipated. I mean, I had a lot of people saying, they were going to unfollow me and this name and that name and a horrible person. But I'd probably say I had like 20% of the people on my side, which surprised me. I really think, though, if you're not a fantasy player, you probably have a more negative opinion of RedZone, say it that way, because it seems totally geared for fantasy players.
So what's your ideal, Jimmy? Like what? I mean, you mentioned the game mix. What's your ideal setup?
Show me the best games. Like the ideal setup for me was when is that 4 game mix channel. Listen, I go into each Sunday. I want to see the best teams. I want to watch the Saints every week. I want to watch the Chiefs every week. I want to watch the Patriots every week. I want to watch the Rams every week. To me, that's where I want to get locked in on. I don't, especially at this point in the season now, we're into into week 10. I don't need to watch one play of a Jets game. I don't need to watch one play of a Redskins game. I don't need to watch one play of a Dolphins game. So for me, the ideal situation is, access to every game, even the bad ones if you like to gamble. But realistically, give me the best games of the week. So, it's hard to do that, obviously, unless you have Sunday tickets. So I've been going to sports bars, and then I can lock in on what I want to lock in on. I'm going to try to be very careful how I say this. There are ways on the internet that may not be legal where you can watch any game, and I've been dabbling in that with much success, I must say. So I was able to watch what I wanted last week for the most part. I have 2 TVs, so I have RedZone on one. I had the Bears Eagles on another because that's what was shown locally in New York, and then I had 2 computers going with illegal streaming, and worked out well. I mean, one of the issues I think that is a factor here for me is that being in New York, unfortunately, every week we're relegated to 2 completely unwatchable games. No matter what happens, you get a Jet and Giant game every Sunday here in New York, unless obviously they're on prime time on Sunday night, Monday night. And you can't watch those games. They're unwatchable, especially the Jets. The Giants at least have Saquon Barkley and the Daniel Jones thing, even though that's faded out a little bit. But, I mean, the Giants going to play the Redskins this year. Well, I mean, why would anyone watch that game? I don't get it. So we're stuck with the New York team here, and that's a problem. Yeah.
Nobody more excited than Jimmy Traina for the 1:00 Eastern time window, Giants Jets on Sunday, like Christmas Day for you. I want to ask one more question about the RedZone. And as a parent, I've seen my son and all the kids. They can't function without RedZone. They have honestly no interest, Jimmy, in watching an NFL football game because they need it mainlined, man. They need that shit. That action has to come fast and furious. Has it hurt overall, you think, fandom of the NFL, or has it helped?
No, I think it's helped tremendously. Listen, no one can deny that one of the major reasons for the NFL's popularity is fantasy. And as I've said, I think the RedZone caters to fantasy. So I think RedZone is a nothing but help. It's nothing but been a positive. I will say, if you want to get into like a little into the woods on hardcore media stuff, one of the interesting things about RedZone, I had John Oran from Sports Business Journal on my podcast earlier this season. And, one of my hopes is someone who loves Sunday Ticket, loves Game Mix, and got rid of DirecTV is that I have Verizon Fios now, for instance. I would love for them to pick up the Sunday Ticket. I'd buy it in a heartbeat, no matter what the price is. I was hoping for a day where like every cable company could offer Sunday Ticket, where then DirecTV doesn't have the exclusivity because the contract does run out after next season. And John made an interesting point to me. He said that the success of the RedZone and the popularity of the RedZone has turned cable companies off from even wanting to make a deal for Sunday Ticket because the price for Sunday Ticket is astronomical. I don't know. I think it's like $2 billion a year that DirecTV pays for the Sunday Ticket exclusive rights to the NFL. Cable companies are so satisfied with what they pay and the rating or audience viewership that they get for RedZone that they don't even want Sunday Ticket. That's how popular the RedZone is. So I think it's done nothing but help the league.
Jimmy, isn't there aren't the DirecTV rights up or something? And there's, thought that maybe some of these streaming companies will come in. Is that for the RedZone or for the Sunday Ticket? And what do you think ends up happening there?
It's for the Sunday Ticket. By all indication, the DirecTV exclusivity for Sunday Ticket is going to end after next year. It's impossible to predict what's going to happen because every day there seems to be a new streaming service that comes up. We've heard Amazon wants the streaming rights. We've heard Apple TV wants the streaming rights. We've heard DAZN wants the streaming rights. Everyone wants the streaming rights. So there'll be a major bidding war. I don't know what DirecTV does. They've recently made some comments that they don't know if they want to retain Sunday Ticket, which is interesting because I think DirecTV would probably be out of business without the NFL package. So it's an impossible thing to predict. The only thing I can tell you is there will be multiple outlets who will be offering Sunday Ticket. It could be DirecTV and a streaming company. It could be maybe only streaming. I'm not sure how it goes down. But the days of where Sunday Ticket is only on DirecTV and nothing else, those will be over after next season.